Game day in Wichita, our pregame interview with Allen American's head coach Steve Martinson, brought to you by Fast Signs of Plano. Marty, let's start with the news of yesterday. Luke Henman, what can you tell us about him?
Well, he's a pretty good player. He's smart. He's skilled. He can skate. He's a leading scorer from his junior team for a couple of years, and he's a draft pick, and he should be a good boost for us. I mean, we certainly could use it and appreciate it, and that's what I'm expecting out of him.
I know, hasn't really had much time to work with the team, but where does he fit into our lineup tonight?
Well, I've got a couple of lines that we've had set, so I'm going to have them probably with Leopard and Polson. It should be a really fast line, and that line was scored on a couple of times last game, and I need that line to outplay, just like we need everybody to outplay the lines they're playing against, but we need to get that line going too.
The game last Sunday, interesting game. We outshoot them, jumped on them early. I think we were outshooting them 6-0 in the first couple of minutes of the game and wound up outshooting them 37-24 for the night. Usually when that happens, you don't have, and I know one of the goals was an empty net goal. That usually doesn't happen. You don't lose those games. So what did you see from watching the video?
Well, obviously we squandered, breakaways and 2-on-0s, and when you're not scoring, and then, you look at the penalty kill. I mean, we went over it. It's frustrating because they have a high triangle, and we didn't get in the seam twice, and we let them pass the puck right through the middle, which you got to deny on the penalty kill. And, when they had their opportunity, they executed. And then, we have the bad change and give up a breakaway. And, it's frustrating because, we had certainly our attack, our opportunities, and it didn't score, but, we had better puck possession. And, I think guys like, Combs had been out a lot, and he's still not 100%, but, our go-to guys got to step up and start making plays consistently night in and night out. And I'm confident that we're going to do that and just go on a run, but we can't delay this any longer.
Well, the one thing that it definitely is positive, going back to the series in Boise, is, the shots are in the 20s now. And again, the other day, 24 shots. So you're not seeing these, 40 numbers popping up. So that's a good sign.
Well, I think, we've been working on a defensive game and working on, closing plays faster, but we also have to, sorry, Tommy, you still there?
Yep. Still
yeah.
here. Yep.
So I had a call come in. I'm doing a trade right now. So, we're playing better, but like I said, we got to get results now. I think we've turned the corner, but now we need to start winning. And some other teams have some guys out of the lineup, and we got guys back, and, we went through that, and now it's our turn to give it to these teams. And, we gotta win consistently, and we need to start tonight. Like I said, I'm confident. When I look at our lineup, it's, it's frustrating, but I think we're going to go on a roll, and, we need to start doing it tonight.
They have a few of their top players gone, and I heard Beitenheis, got hurt in the last game. So, but looking at their team as a whole, they've been playing much better since the last time we saw them. And what's working for, we know Rammer and the type of coach he is and what he expects out of his guys, but what's working for them now?
Well, I'll tell you, it's the same thing in our division. Our division is filled with guys that were typically, because of the college recruits not coming out, a lot of guys are, we're second and third line guys coming from programs, and they just work hard. And, I don't think we worked hard enough and moved our feet enough, and obviously we had some guys coming from not playing, and we just got to get up and play the game right, play the game hard. And when we do that, our skill and talent will take over, and we've got plenty of skill and talent in the lineup. We just got to produce.
Last but not least, our NEURO-VISION keys to the game. Marty, what's the biggest key to tonight against a team, Wichita, that's hungry and they've been playing well?
Well, two things. I mean, we got to get our offense. Be consistently scoring goals, and with the guys that we have, we got to start. We got to consistently score, and then we can't give up opportune scoring opportunities. You can't give up a breakaway here, and you just got to be solid defensively and not beat yourself.
Who goes tonight for us?
Well, Murat's going. I need him to get his game going where it was in the past, and he's had basically one good game, and he's getting this. I thought he made some good saves the other night, I think I thought they shot the puck really good on their power play goal, and they had a deflection with a screen on their first goal. And I didn't really like the breakaway goal, but it was still a breakaway. So, I mean, we need Marat to be, on his A game, and he's getting the opportunity tonight.
The last thing, very last thing for you. I know you mentioned trade. Do you anticipate that thing will get done today, or is that something maybe
going to get done as soon as I get off the phone? As soon as we're done with this, and we're not getting a player now, it's for a player later. We actually have a lot of players, and we have too many players. So, and we've got Butcher coming back. I'm hopefully sooner than later, and we've got Didick on the reserve. So, there's other things happening, but we just have too many players right now.
Okay, thanks a lot, Marty. Appreciate it. Good luck tonight. Welcome back to the Allen Americans pregame show. Glad to have alongside the voice of the Wichita Thunder, Jason Malz. And boy, you're talking about a team on a hot stretch right now. 8-1-1 for you guys over your last 10. What has changed from the last time we saw you?
Well, I think our offense has been really balanced, Tommy. We're getting contributions up and down the lineup, and we're getting some really good goaltending. Evan Beithuis started 17 straight games. Unfortunately, he did get hurt the other night, so hopefully he is okay. I don't expect him to be the starter for today's game. And, the schedule fell in a way that was very conducive for us to be able to play him throughout that stretch. And he was really good. Now, we got off to a real slow start, as you know, but since then we've been very solid in terms of, not allowing a lot in our own defensive zone and then taking advantage of opportunities on the other end. So it's been a fun stretch to watch for this team.
Can I remind you, though, you say you got off to a slow start. You beat us 7-0 on opening night. So if that's a slow start, I don't want to see what your great start is.
Yes, we beat you 7-0, and then we ended up losing. I think it was 4 or 5 in a row. So unfortunately, the opening night of the season was fun to watch for us, at least, and I know it wasn't for you.
No, it wasn't. But you know what? We're getting better. I think the one thing, and we were giving up too many shots every game. Whether it was you guys or Utah. And by the way, we've lost 5 in a row at home. We haven't won a home game since October the 30th. So that's going way, way back. Been better on the road. We've been basically a 500 team on the road, not so good at home. So we'll see what tonight brings. You mentioned, obviously, Beithuis out of the lineup, one of the best goalies in this league. If he does not start tonight, who plays?
Well, we just acquired a goalie by the name of Jake Toit, who interestingly is related to a former Thunder forward, Matt DeBlau, if you remember him.
Yeah, I do.
That's his cousin. So, Jake played college hockey at a couple of different schools. He actually played for us a little bit on Sunday, and then the previous Sunday at home against Rapid City, and was really good in the time that he was in net. He actually came in for Evan Beithuis after about 3 minutes into the game. That was Beithuis's 15th consecutive start at the time, and ended up stopping, I think it was 32 shots on net from Rapid City, and won the game in a shootout. So, we actually, part of the reason I think Beithuis started so many games was because coach was not confident in our backup goalie. Obviously, the schedule played out where he was able to start that many games, but he made that move to get Toit off of waivers. He originally started with the Norfolk Admirals, picked him up, and hopefully if he does get the call, he's able to, stop the first shot, not allow a lot of rebounds.
You do have some players called up. Matteo Gennaro, who always plays great against Allen, going back to I don't care if it was Rapid City when he was there or with you guys. I remember opening night, he pretty much torched us, but he's up. Peters is up, and Soderlund's up as well. How does that impact your lineup? I know that's 3 big pieces gone from the Thunder lineup.
Yeah, it's just the nature of the beast of this league. If you've got an affiliation that's a little bit thinner than some of the other affiliations, like, for instance, Utah and Toronto, or Colorado and Toronto, I mean, they feed their ECHL teams all kinds of contracted players. Unfortunately for us, we've only had a couple of contract players down here. Gennaro's signing in the off season with Bakersfield. So, he gets called up as well as Soderlund, and then Alex Peters goes up because of some of the injuries on the back end in Edmonton. It affects us quite a bit because, Peters has been a solid young player for us. He just came back from injury, and he's wearing the captain, which you don't see second-year players like that wearing a letter all that often. So he's got a ton of respect in the locker room. Gennaro, like you said, has been outstanding for us, specifically on the power play. He was at the top of the league before he got called up in power play points. And Soderlund has been a dynamic offensive player. So it hurts us, but at the same time, one of the things I mentioned earlier in the question you asked me was, what has been important for this team, and it's been offensive balance. We got 6 guys that have at least 10 points. So, guys have to step up. And players like Peter Cronella and Jay Dickman have been able to do that.
Well, I remember the last time we talked for the last game, and it's been a while now, but I remember you said the one thing was just trying to, put together a solid lineup every night. And hey, let's be honest, with the college program this year and the extra year of eligibility and, guys going to Europe, it's really, really affected this league with guys, a lot of guys that might not have jobs that have jobs in this league this year. And as Steve Martinson said in our pregame interview, a lot of second line and third line guys that work hard are getting an opportunity to show what they can do. So it's a different year, much different than last year, where we had overabundance of talent because of Europe and American Hockey League guys playing. I know our team was just stacked last year. So it's a different season for all teams. And I think maybe competitive might be the word when you look at the division up and down, even the top teams to the bottom, nobody's out of it yet. We played along with Tulsa the fewest games in the division. So I'm anxious to see when things get cranked up here, when we get to hit January 1 and that stretch through April, who's on top and who's not.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point that you make. I mean, for us, we've got a ton of guys on our roster that started in the SPHL. And in the past, if you would have said that, I think there would have been comments made around the league or even from fans. Well, why are you getting players from that league? Well, last year, the SPHL was loaded with all kinds of offensive talent. I mean, look at a guy like Logan Nelson for Rapid City, who was in the SPHL, and now he's one of the top offensive players in this league for the Rush. We've got, I think it's 5 or 6 players from the SPHL on our roster right now. And, some of those guys like Logan Fredericks and Dalton Skelly, they're stepping up and playing minutes that normally they wouldn't be probably seeing over the course of the last couple of years.
There's good players that play in the SPHL. Might I remind people that Riley Gill was in the SPHL and came to Allen. So, I mean, yes, and he's arguably, he is the greatest postseason goalie of all time in this league, and he was just dynamite for us. This is Jason Mousy, voice of the Wichita Thunder here on the Americans pregame show. It's always fun when these two teams get together, Mouse, but when you play 3 times in 4 nights, it could get a little interesting come Sunday, especially how, what happens in games 1 and 2. But that's the one great thing about this rivalry. And one of the reasons why I always look forward to these games more than any other team we play. It's because of the history between these two teams, going back to, the finals matchup or the ownership, which was at one point owned 3 teams in this league. So it's always a little extra special when Allen and Wichita play. Do you agree?
Oh, 100%. I'll never forget sitting in that suite with you when we were going over some stuff before the game on New Year's Eve, and all of a sudden Dyson Stevenson starts a pregame brawl. I mean, You just never know what's going to happen between these two teams. So what's that?
And that was before basically anybody was in the building. You know what I'm saying? It was like, what the heck, and we're just standing there going, okay, get your film, get your camera out and start rolling film, right? Or get Snapchat going, because my gosh, this is craziness. Yeah, that was just one of the moments. There's been a lot. I remember one time, it was funny. We were playing there a weekend series, and you'll have to help me with the name because I'm just drawing a blank on him right now. But your guy with the mohawk.
I'm drawing a blank too.
It's going to dry. Oh, never mind. Eric Lizon. It just comes to mind.
Oh, okay.
And so we're guys are in there taping up their sticks, getting ready for pregame warm up, and all of a sudden these pucks start flying into our locker room down the hallway. And as you know, in Wichita, you exit off the bench and go right into the locker room area. And Lizon was firing pucks, and the Ludwig brothers were in there, and they're like, "What is going on?" And I lied. I said it was during pregame warm up. It was actually a pregame skate. That afternoon. And it was funny because pucks were just flying down the hallway, one after the other. And the Ludwig brothers were like, what is going on here? And of course it was Lizon. And then that night in pregame warmups, there was a little confrontation with Lizon and Trevor Ludwig. I remember Tyler and all the Americans came to his aid that night. But that's a couple of the moments that we talk about from times past between the Americans and the Wichita Thunder. And fortunately, you and I were there for all of those.
Or the end of the game, what was it, 3 years ago, where there was that brawl right at the last faceoff where your goalie came out and started to get, I can't remember exactly who was involved, but that was crazy too at our building.
Yeah, you know what? It's good hockey. It's friendly hockey. A lot of the Wichita fans, great fans too, by the way. They come down and they come to games in our building, and always appreciate that. It reminds me of our relationship back in the day with the Brahmas when we, it was just as intense as you could get. And their fans would come over here, and, of course we had the never forget the night over in Lone Star Brahmas. They were Lone Star Brahmas now, but they were the Texas Brahmas at the time, where there was a fight on the ice, and it was one of the most intense fights I've ever been a part of. And of course, I won't mention the names. It's not important, but it was scary. One player from their side was down, and I was worried, honestly, for him. He never went on to play again. And then who could forget, for us, it was Brett Cloutier and Ryan Hand in the ceremonial puck drop. And they got in a fight right at the ceremonial puck drop. And I remember Mike Barrick, the president of the Brahmas, coming up and saying, Tommy, you've got to do something. And I thought, hey, man, if you think I'm going down there and get between Cloutier and Ryan Hand, you've got another guest coming. I don't get paid that much money to do that.
Oh, my gosh. Some of the memories just thinking about back in the old Central Hockey League. But real quick, just kind of getting back to your point. Yeah, I mean, anytime Allen and Wichita play, it's always must-see hockey. To me, it really reminds me of the old Wichita-Colorado rivalry back in the Central League before I had left to go to another job in 06, 07. I mean, those games were just intense. The teams hated each other, but it was good competitive hockey. And Allen Wichita, ever since you guys came into the league, has been that. We've had some really good rivalries over the course of our 30-year history. From Oklahoma City, and then you've got, of course, Tulsa, Kansas City, Allen. Those four teams are all really great rivals. But to me, this is the top of the four. So it should be another fun one here this weekend as the two teams play 3 games against each other.
Hey, we need another team in Oklahoma City. That it just makes sense. Great hockey fans there. I remember going to a game one time. It was back when I used to go to a lot of the Fort Worth Brahma games, and went to Oklahoma City for a road game. They had about 10,000 people packed into that place. It was dollar beer night. There were more fights in the stands than there were on the ice that evening. I'm telling you, it was greatness. I miss those days. Get Oklahoma City back. Get them in the ECHL. It just makes too much sense.
Was that for the Barons or the Blazers?
That was for the Blazers.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's going back. We're talking the old Central League. This, you know what? Obviously, the Barons, unfortunately, I just don't think that ever worked. I think there was no rivalry there for them. They tried with the Texas Stars, and I went to a couple games up there. Just was not near the same atmosphere as you had back in the old Central Hockey League days. Well, Mel, thanks for doing this, buddy. Have a great broadcast tonight. I know you will. Give my best to my buddy Hannah, and we'll see what happens.
All right. Thanks so much for having me.
The great Jason Mouse, the voice of the Wichita Thunder. Here we go.